holy shit, Tito Ortiz. I was dominating that fight, got caught in a choke.
Oh, I am so into UFC.
When I got into fighting, I made my first million by the time I was 24. But then I realized in my mind is what I'm gonna do when I'm 40 years old, 50 years old. What am I gonna be able to do after this?
Who that person is?
A fighter, actor, businessman, entrepreneur, philanthropist, a father.
Also, you had become the mayor for a very short time at one time? Is that right?
They found my weakness, and it was my children. When they first put my children on television and saying Tito thinks his kids are too good to be going to school and wearing a mask.
Oh, wow. Athletes, we're great entrepreneurs. But how is that for you when you went from fighter, cage to entrepreneur now?
I'd be my own boss, and that's important. It helps me. You're as good as the people you're hanging out with. If you're hanging out with a bunch of losers, you're gonna be a loser. If you're hanging out with a bunch of millionaires, you have a chance to be a millionaire.
Oh man, wow, you are like singing my song.
That's a sign of respect. I don't care how famous you are, how much money you make. If you have those values deep down in your heart and you don't lose those, that keeps you grounded, it's really important. And I made sure I've kept those things. My legacy is about my children.
It's really powerful. Welcome back to the Rhonda Swan Show. All right, so I am super jazzed up today because if you know me at all, you know that in my past, I was a professional bodybuilder. I was a, wannabe WoW wrestler. I was a ring girl. I did all this crazy stuff back in my day. But I am I am so into UFC. And when I found out that I get to interview this amazing 5-time UFC lightweight world champion, Tito Ortiz today, I was so pumped. Tito is a member of the UFC Hall of Fame and a founder of Punishment Athletics Enterprises. And he's also known as the ultimate showman in the world's greatest spectator sport. A proud father of 3 boys, author of the best-selling autobiography, This Is Gonna Hurt, a person who has moved from UFC fighter to entrepreneur and philanthropist. Tito is a true definition of a champion and an American success story, and I am so happy to have you on the show. Welcome, Tito Ortiz. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. That was a great introduction. I appreciate that very much.
Well, I mean, you deserve a big introduction. You've done some big things, I'm just super pumped to have you, though. Really, I, growing up in my 20s, I was all about UFC. I mean, I think I was 12 years old, and on Christmas Day, I went to one of the big ring fights, UFC fights, on Christmas Day when I was 12 years old. I'm such a huge fan. So let's kind of talk about what you've been up to. You guys, I'm so impressed, obviously, with the level of fitness that all of you have, especially within, just to even compete, let alone be in the Hall of Fame or be a champion. Can you take us on your journey a bit on how you originally found yourself in the cage and going from training that's literally required you to be fit to fight? What is that journey like?
Well, I think it started for me as a young kid watching professional boxing, watching Muhammad Ali, growing up watching professional wrestling of, Hulk Hogan as a kid growing up, that American dream. And that stuck with me a lot through high school. As soon as I got to high school my freshman year, I walked in the wrestling room asking the coach, where's the ring at? And he's laughing at me going, no, it's a totally different type of wrestling. But he goes, you can't slam a guy in his head, and you get points for it. So at that point, I was pretty much sold. Hook, line, and sinker, I was in. And I competed for my 4 years at varsity level. I learned super fast. My freshman year, I started, and I learned that if I worked really, really hard, that I could be the best I possibly could be. And I did that at that point. I ended up going to junior college, won the state title twice in junior college in wrestling. And during that time, I hung out with a guy by the name of Tank Abbott who fought in the UFC. And I was his training partner. There was a weight class at that time that was 199. They had lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. And that was it. That was back when I started, about 1997. Was it May 30th? So it'll be 25 years to date this coming May 30th. Right. But I competed my first time for free. The first UFC fighter in UFC history ever to compete for free because I wanted to keep my scholarship that I had for wrestling in college. Yep. And I did that, but I went 2-1 in the first night, fought twice in one night, and I found myself in the finals. I was dominating that fight. Then I got caught in a submission after they separated us because he was bleeding. And back then, they never stopped it from bleeding ever. And they stopped it from bleeding for the first time. They set us back on our feet. And I went for a takedown. Got caught in a choke. And it was a great learning experience. I came to realize that, being a high school wrestling coach and a high school teacher, that I could help, 30 kids in a wrestling room or some of the kids on campus. But being a professional fighter, I could reach out to hundreds of thousands of kids and adults also through my career. After a year and a half of competition, I became the world champion, the Ultimate Fighting Championship in 2000. Actually, it was at the end of 99. I don't know, I'm sorry. It was at the beginning of 2000. I ran as champion for about 3.5 years, 5 title defenses. I really trained as hard as I possibly could. But then I realized in my mind is what I'm going to do when I'm 40 years old, 50 years old. What am I going to be able to do after this? Fighting is only a certain timing that you can have. Then you got to kind of get out of it, and you got to go on to business and other, entrepreneur.
Other adult things. You got to grow up.
Yeah, no, and that's what I understood. And I started entrepreneurship as a 12-year-old kid on Newport Pier selling fish to my Asian friends. I'd have their phone numbers. The bonito would be running. I'd be calling, and I would come down. They're biting now. They'd come down, and I'd catch fish. I'd sell $2 a fish. So I paid for my lunch, breakfast, and dinner. That's how I grew up. I grew up really hard as a kid. My family wasn't really there for me that much, but my mother got away from my father when I was 13 and gave me another chance at life. I think I moved back to Huntington Beach, and that's when things changed. I got a normalcy at home. I had a roof over my head. I had lights turned on, water on, as a normal kid should be brought up. But prior to that, I had a really hard time with my parents because they had a drug problem. My father had a drug problem, and he chose drugs over me. And it was really hard to see that as a young child. But as I grew up, I kind of understood that I can't really change what his mentality is, because that's all he knew. What he knew was good to that point in his life. That was only as good as he knew. That was only as good as he was taught. And as a kid growing up myself, when I had my first child in 2001, it scared me. I was like, wow, I don't want to make the same mistakes my dad made. I want to be very present for my child. I want to love him and tell him that I'm proud of him. And that was the things that as a kid that I've always wanted. And I was able to give that to my children. Financially, the love, the care.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I can really relate to that as well. My dad did the same. He chose drugs over me, and I don't speak with him. And so I get that. I know that you do a lot of work with kids, especially like your message really reaches a lot of kids. Do you do a lot of speaking like this, to sharing this type of message on, because what you just said is something that so many don't realize. You're like, I can't blame him for the choices that he made.
Right. Yes, I do a lot. I do a lot of public speaking. I do a lot of motivational speeches. Just a lot of things that I've done of just sharing my story. Because once again, it's not something I need to write out. I have a write out or anything. I lived it. I lived the lifestyle, and I've been able. It was a choice in my life. Either I'd be a victim or I'd be a victor. And these are things that I've been very fortunate to look myself in the mirror and be honest as an honest man. I want to be a good man, and I have 2 things the rest of my life. I have my word, I have my name. And I want to make sure I teach my children that. And the respect and values that we try to teach to our children. I have 3 boys. I have my oldest son, Jacob, who's going to be 20 on June 1st. He's at ASU University. Got a full ride in wrestling. I'm very, very thankful for that program, picking him up. And then I have my twin boys, Jesse and Journey, who just turned 13. And they're A students. They're homeschooled, of course.
Yay, homeschooling.
Yeah. I got to a point right now where what they're teaching here in Orange County and California is not what I need to be teaching my child at all. This whole critical race theory, the sex gender situation, the sexual ed they try to teach. That's my job as a father. Yeah. I should teach, and I should show them. I should, let them learn in the processes at their ages that makes it appropriate for their age. And at the young, trying to do things here in California is just, it's not my mentality. And for me as a father, I got to make sure I take a stand and I do the right thing. So we're selling everything here in Huntington Beach. We should be out by August, I would say, and we're moving to Florida.
There you go. No, it's big.
I love the guy, man. He's just amazing, a true patriot, a person that cares about this country. And I want my children to have neighbors and friends who love America, who love this country, not sit there and hate it and say it's the worst country in the world. And to those people that say that, those are the people that have never traveled the world. Travel the world, and you'll understand what we really have here in America. And it's a very thankful place to come back to, where I'm very thankful to be here. For the first time, actually, I traveled back and forth from Manchester. I went to an autograph signing and a motivational speech we did out there, and I got it to LAX, and for the first time in my life, and I traveled the world, as I say, as I came back, I was going, damn, I'm coming back to California. I'm coming back to Huntington Beach. I was like, kind of made me sad. I was like, I traveled to Florida over probably about 18 times in the last year and a half, and going there, it's like going to America.
I know, exactly.
It's crazy.
It is.
It'd never be like that.
Well, you know, we left California 14 years ago. My husband and I, my daughter was 1. We left and we've been traveling. She's been lived in almost 50 some countries. And we just went back for the first time to California. And we were like, oh, what's happened to the state that was, we love so much. And we have family in Florida. Our headquarters is in Florida, and they're doing big stuff there. Like it's a real, you feel like you're going back to America. It's like people actually are doing things to raise up the country. And good on you though just to make that decision, because it could be a bit glamoring, right, to want to stay in California. It's got all these, these things, and you've done some big stuff in your career. But you take a big stand. You're quite political in your stand. I know you had also, you had become the mayor for a very short time at one time? Is that right?
So, I took my little jab into the political realm because I realized that it's a little too dirty for me. I'm an honest, respectful of myself and the words I tell my children. I ran for city council here in Huntington Beach. I got the most votes in Huntington Beach history. I was mayor pro tem of Huntington Beach, council member. But I wasn't part of the agenda, and they did everything to cancel me. They did everything to run me out, and they found my weakness, and it was my children. When they first put my children on television and saying Tito thinks his kids are too good to be going to school and wearing a mask.
Oh, wow.
And people say it's not really I was in danger in general, but you never know the crazy Looney Tunes that are watching television,
That's right.
They may have had a loved one over situation, and we'll say, well, Tito thinks he's too good for the rest of us, and someone act in a vicious manner towards me or my children. I can't do that risk. And getting paid, what was it, $600 a month for them to run my name through the dirt. It wasn't worth it. And I tried. I took my stabbing at it. I gave as much as I possibly could. I just hope people from Huntington Beach understand what they're really fighting for, and need to fight for the conservativeness that is here in the city before it's gone. Because once it's gone, the country in general, once it's gone, it's never going to be back, and people need to understand that.
Yeah. Once the big control takes over, it's hard to get it back. And I salute you for taking that stand for your family, for our country, right? Like my family, we did the same. We take that really strong stand, which is why I was really excited to interview you. But I know that with how you went from now being a fighter into your entrepreneurialism, I think. Let's talk about that. Like, how has that been for you to make that transition? Because it seems pretty natural, right? Athletes, we're great entrepreneurs. But how is that for you when you went from fighter cage to entrepreneur now?
Well, I think it really came down to just the progression of what I wanted for my future. And I know that I can only make so much money in fighting. I come up with my own clothing company. Punishment Athletics is actually one of the shirts, Freedom shirt right here. It's worth fighting for.
Yes.
I understood, and like I said earlier in the interview, that I talked about as being a kid selling fish. That was like one of the big things. And then I realized being a high school teacher and a wrestling coach, I could only make so much money. When I got into fighting, I made my first $1 million by the time I was 24. And I come to realize, wow, what else I need to start into? You watch guys like George Foreman, the Foreman Grill, and things like that. I was like, that's an entrepreneur. That's what makes it hard work. You just got to work hard and dedicate yourself to it. And I got into the used car business for a while, and where we went from $600,000 a year to $700,000 a year to $800,000 a year. The next year on our way to doing $1 million. But through that time, I saw money missing from my partners. And I come to realize that they were really shady, and they were just doing stuff that wasn't proper for a business to run the right way. And I had to pull away from that. And that was a big income. I was like, but once again, it goes to respect. It goes to just trusting your partner to be in business with you. And I'll find other ways to make money as I continue to do. My clothing company is doing fairly well. It's doing okay, enough to keep its head out of the water. But I just want to move on to what's the next new thing to kind of get into and try to get into the right way. So just being hungry, that and the lifestyle that I lived. I live in a beautiful house on the water, have a boat behind my house, I have nice cars. My kids eat healthy. I eat healthy. We're able to travel, but how would I live the same lifestyle? And that's when you got to look outside the box of what you really live in. If you want to have a 9-to-5 job and work one way all the time the rest of your life, that's your choice. I choose to work a bunch of jobs and work my own hours the only way I want to do it. and be my own boss. And that's important. It helps me mentally and physically to get through things, through the hard times, where there's times that I'm working for 7 days straight and, it's 14-hour days, but that's only for that week or for that month. And I get a little time off after that, and I know when to relax and kind of let my mind reset. And it's very important. I'm a guy who sleeps a lot. I love to sleep. It keeps me young. I'm 47 years old. I feel like I'm about 35, maybe a little younger, I feel like it. But I've gone through a lot, but I just understand just to keep the grind. You got to grind. You got to grind. You got to grind. And look like 5 years forward, 6 years forward, and see where you'll be able to build up to get to that point. And if I don't think of that, and set my goals and set my dreams high, then I'm only accomplishing mediocre stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to do something more depth where my children will watch it and they want to learn to do the same thing. As my oldest son, Jacob, is in business management right now at Arizona State University. One of my sons, Jesse, he's going to start in summer law school online. They start at 13 to 18.
Wow,
so
really?
He's straight A's, and he said, "Dad, if I get straight A's, can I start law school in the summertime?" And it put a big smile on my face. I was like, "Listen, son, if you get straight A's, I'll pay for it myself." And he's like, "Really?" So now I gave him a goal. Like my son Jacob, I gave him a goal to go to Division I wrestling, and he accomplished that. And these are goals that I think parents should set for their children at a really young age, because if you want them to be something very successful in life, is don't hinder them and don't do things for them, because I know there's a lot of mothers out there that really want to, coddle their child and do it for them. No, you gotta let them learn. You gotta let them learn and fall down and help them back up. Let them fall down, help them back up. They fall down the third time, they don't learn from that. Then you gotta sit down and have a talk with them. It's important. I think as a father, it's important. That's things that I missed out on because my father wasn't there for me to help me with these things. But I understood by the people that I was hanging around with is you're as good as the people you're hanging out with. If you're hanging around with a bunch of losers, you're going to be a loser. If you hang out with a bunch of millionaires, you have a chance to be a millionaire. And I understood that because I got a few opportunities to hang out with some billionaires, the Fertittas and Donald Trump. So I think I've been able to learn a little bit from all of them through my life and my career. I'm very thankful.
Oh man, wow, you are like singing my song. Like, yes. My daughter started her first company when she was 11. She's written 3 books now. It's because we give them, you give them those small milestones that they reach, and they really learn the value of creation and creating something for themselves. And it just teaches responsibility. And I respect that in you. And I appreciate that because it's so big, especially in my show. You're like, we got social media everywhere. And on my show, I'm mainly on, all the social platforms. And these kids are watching what we're talking about. If you look at the stuff that's being spread out there, we need real stuff, right? People that really can take something and run with it. And this is a big one. Let's talk a little bit about your philanthropic things that you do, right? I know that you're also an author, but not everyone knows that you're also a philanthropist. So let's talk about that. Tell us about your book and what are you doing now as a philanthropist to give back?
Well, I think this really started at a young age. I didn't really realize it. And I think about 24, 25, I really didn't know what a philanthropist was until I really looked at it. And then I understood and I was like, wow, that's what I've been doing this whole time.
Yeah, right. It's like this big word.
Yeah, no, seriously. I think it started out in high school wrestling. I'd go and I'd do seminars when I graduated junior college and just helping with kids and watch them progress and get better and better. I coached at a high school, and just to watch them mature into men and the hard work and dedication, and even just, being a friend there for them to talk about things at home they're going through and be able to help them to kind of rise them up. It felt good. It felt good to go home knowing that I helped somebody. And then 2005, I visited Iraq. From 2005 to 2011, I would go every year, either to be in the summertime or I would be in the winter right before Christmas. But I go visit our troops for the USO, and I got a huge opportunity to meet a lot of great men and women. And it was just nice to be out there to raise their morale and be there as strictly a civilian, but at the same time to be there and feel like a soldier. I'm able to shoot weapons, pull C4. I got to hang out with a bunch of special force guys, and this has been out throughout the years. And throughout the years, I've traveled the country of visiting different air bases. And once again, just raising the morale. I'm not there to make money. They're just to raise the morale of our country and our troops. Because when I was in Iraq, I think the second year I was there, 2006, I sat down at chow, and all the USO people sit at one table, and all the other troops were sitting in their lines. And I was like, can I go sit with the guys? They're like, you want to? Like, yeah, of course I do. I had my chow rack, and a couple guys looked up and looked at me, and I had the biggest surprised look on their face. They're like, Tito Ortiz? Well, yes, sir. How you guys doing? They're like, holy shit, Tito Ortiz. And I was sitting to a young kid who was probably about 18. And I asked them, hey, how you doing, man? I'm afraid. He goes, I really don't know who the enemy is here.
Wow.
I miss home. You know, I miss my mom. I miss my dad. I miss my family. I go, you know what? Keep your head up. You're doing the right thing for our country. Everybody at home, we appreciate what you're doing. And just to see the smile on the kid's face after I got done with the conversation, talking with them, I knew it was my calling to try to help out. You know, and once again, I'm a huge supporter of our military and our men and women in blue. You know, all the special force, all the first responders, everyone that I've worked with through my career, I'm very thankful, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are taking care of our family. They're the ones that are taking care of the streets that we live in, to live in a safe country, live in a safe neighborhood. And I'm very thankful for them. So it's always about giving back and being a philanthropist through that.
Yeah. Well, you know, my
At night, you know, when I go to bed at night, I lay my head on the table, or I lay my head on the bed, doing the right thing, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel important.
Yeah, absolutely. My stepdad was a fireman. And I remember he used to say, you know, I'm going to be a hero today, when I was younger, you know? And then as I got older, I really realized, like, wow, you know, these first responders, the firemen, the policemen of the world, like, they're the heroes every day that are saving the lives of our children. And, you know, it's to have that type of value, and it's also, you're showing this for your kids. You know, it means so much when we start to see those that, especially like in your position, who's, you know, done all the successful celebrity stuff, you know, in your fighting, but you're keeping the core and you're keeping it real. And for that, you know, I want to thank you for that. It's really powerful. Yeah, thanks for doing that.
That's important. As a guy growing up, I got an opportunity to hang out with huge rock stars. I mean, Korn and Limp Bizkit, some of the biggest rock bands in our time, to huge actors, and just to see the way they present themselves and hold themselves around a group. There's guys who are very, very shut off, very, you know, just shy, I guess you can say, or maybe don't want to be bothered. But then there's guys that are very outgoing, and will shake your hand, look in the eye, and say, how you doing? Nice to meet you. That's a sign of respect. I don't care how famous you are, how much money you make. If you have those values deep down in your heart and you don't lose those, that keeps you grounded, it's really important. And I made sure I've kept those things. And through my career, I haven't changed. I really have not changed at all. I made no stupid amount of money. I won world titles, but all this stuff is just, it's to the side. That's not what my legacy is truly about. My legacy is about my children, about their future. And when I leave this earth, that they're prepared to become men and provide for the people that are around them, take care of the people around them, and do something in a positive manner, and, you know, treat society in a positive manner. And I think it's important. And I say, once again, I'm trying to be a father that my father never was, and it's important to me, and I'm doing it. I'm happy, because when parents come up to me and go, your kids are really good kids.
Oh, you're like,
just the way they present, you know,
right?
Everything. But of course, I got to give some kudos to my wife, Amber Nicole Miller. We've been together now for 9 years, and she is just a superstar. She's an amazing woman and is not selfish at all. There's a lot of women who are selfish, and she is not a selfish woman at all. And what comes first is our children. And I'm very thankful for that, because my kids are stars, as I say, and I don't give them everything, but I make them earn everything. And when they have everything, then I realize that they're working hard. I'm very thankful for it.
Well done, Daddy. Well done, you and your mama. So let me ask you, before we get ready to go, is what's up with Punishment Athletics? Like, what's next? Where are you guys going? Like, what is the next, you know, step for you guys?
Well, so I started the company back in 1999. I fought in 97, and then the following year I was at an event, and Swan comes up to me and says, hey, Tito, do you have a T-shirt with your name on it? And you can autograph to me, and it'd be killer. I'd buy it from you. I was like, wow, that'd be kind of cool to do. Got back home, my brother goes, God, you punished that guy. I go, what? He goes, you punished that guy. And I thought in my mind, I'm like, what if I put punishment on a shirt? Put TitoOrtiz.com underneath it. Put it online, and what could I do with it? So my brother had a printing machine. I took $500, turned into $1,000. $1,000 turned into $2,000. $2,000 turned into $10,000. It's like I kept just putting the money away to the company and just kept adding to the company, kept growing and growing and growing it. And like I say, since 1999 to now, I still have the business alive. And we're gonna do some rebranding this year. And you see one of the shirts says freedom, as I say. It's a full freedom line. I think it's just important, because people need to fight for freedom before it's gone. and here's my opportunity to, put money into something that I really care about. I come up with the designs myself. It's my artistic side of me that I love, but at the same time, it's something that I could do to help do what mainstream media is doing to our country right now, but do it on the opposite.
Do it on the opposite, exactly.
People understand too how important this country truly is. Before it's gone, they better step up and fight for it, because right now, as I say, I got into politics a little bit, and I really understand is what they're really trying to do. This New World Order thing is just something that's going to be vicious to this country. It's going to lose everything that's in the Constitution. It's going to be that we have in front of us is going to be lost, and people better step up, because this midterm is the most important thing in the world. And in November of this year, people better make a stand and better be heard, because there's going to be a lot of things happening. I don't know, on your show, people like to talk about politics. They say don't talk about
No, but it's all right, because we have the same belief system.
Yeah, well, I mean, now I understand why they say don't talk about politics, because once you start talk about politics, people have questions about it.
Yeah.
They start asking questions, and they start learning. When you start learning about things, then you have questions, and then you're like, this is wrong. Right, and that's wrong. I mean, you got the back and forth, but like I say, I hope people wake up. It's really important for the future of our children, the future of our friends' children, or our children's children. But I just, as a fighter, actor, businessman, entrepreneur, philanthropist, a father, I got to do something before it's gone. And I can scream as loud as I possibly can, but it takes more than just one person to stand up and scream. It takes the whole country. Hopefully they're getting sick of it. I just seen Elon Musk say that he's voted Democrat his whole life, and for the first time he's going to vote Republican. Yeah. And I wish people would vote for America. Yeah. It should come first. If you're a Republican, it depends on this New World Order stuff. It's a scary thing if people understand it, but man, I wish a lot more people would look at both sides instead of sticking just to one side. And that goes to both sides. It goes to left and right. Think of just one way, and that's the way they think. It's not about that. It's about seeing in the middle and finding a happy medium that you can be happy on both sides. Yeah. And I think that's really important.
Yes, I am so with you. Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to seeing the collective come together and really stand for America. And I think that's a bold statement, right? Stand together, stand for your neighbor, and let's really stand up for our rights. And that's what we're fighting for as well. So thanks for helping lead that, because we need more people like you that have the values, that are willing to say the words for the people, and it doesn't have any political agenda involved, and I think that's the most important piece. Okay, so my husband is here, and I have to ask you this before we go. All right, so we heard and we read about this fight with Dana White in the plane. What happened in this fight? Because then I saw you had the shirt on. Of course, owns a t-shirt company. Of course, you're gonna make a shirt, but I gotta hear it from you.
So me and Dana were really, really close. People don't understand that. Like, we were super, super close. I mean, like almost like brothers. It seemed like to me. But then money got in the way, and things happened the way they did. Whatever. But on our way to Japan, we're playing around, we're drinking, and having a fun time. On the way to Japan, he was like, went to go grab me in the neck, trying to hook on me. And I slid behind him, and I tried to choke him out. We wrestle a lot. I'm a bigger guy. People don't realize how big I am. You just have a really big head. I go, no, I got really big hands. I have really big limbs. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", 235 pounds. I'm a big guy. And me and Dana used to do jiu-jitsu a lot. And we're like, the hell with it. We're in a private jet. No one could say anything. So we were just rolling. And Lorenzo Fertitta was screaming, you guys stop, knock it up. And I was like, about ready to choke him out. He's like, okay, take it out. He's like, my neck is so sore. I almost ripped his neck out, but it was fun. It was all, at that time, we were best friends. We were really good. It was nothing vicious. It wasn't like I was trying to hurt him or anything, because I could if I wanted to. But you talk about the boxing match. That was something that was a setup on his side to show that he's the big bad Dana White, which I understand what he's trying to do. There was not one fight through my whole history, besides my very first fight with UFC, as I ever fought with. Actually, with that fight, I did have a contract too, but I never fought without a contract. And the boxing match, he didn't want a contract, because the agreement we had was I'd cut 50-50, or he would cut 50-50 with me of any money revenue through that. Once again, that's entrepreneurship in my mind, thinking, if I'm going to put in the work and I'm going to be on television, I should be paid for this.
Of course.
It was an opportunity for him to say no, and I said no. but they kept on with the production. They kept on for, was it on Spike Television back then? So they kept up to this big story, and it was a big lie of Dana sitting on the scale with his arms raised and Tito's no show. So what's the best way to make the champion look like he's not that good and he's afraid to fight the president? There's a story you got right there. Boom.
I love it.
And it was a thriller, perfect. I mean, this is like literally like a dream match for him to have that shown on television the way he did, because now he's Dana the badass, and no one gets from him, and I gotta respect it. I respect the guys. It is what it is.
Well, you know, we are in show business too, right? Business. You know,
show business, but yeah, that was show business.
Yeah, for sure, right? Well, Tito, you're awesome. I'm so happy to have interviewed you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for sharing your values, who you are. It's epic, you know, keep fighting the fight and, you know, leading these young men into this world, you know, that they treat the women beautifully and with love and care, and that they fight for what they believe in. And that's what you're raising, 3 awesome boys doing that. And, I'm going to be in California next month in June. So maybe we'll come together and my husband and your wife can go to dinner and talk more about the things that we believe in.
That'd be perfect. That'd be amazing.
Right on. Thanks again, my man. Have a great one. And we'll check in soon.
Awesome. Ralph, thank you for all your viewers. Everybody, thank you guys very much. I hope you enjoyed this. The image that I get painted through UFC is not the Tito Ortiz that's true. The true man is the man you're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Trying to be a father, trying to do everything right as an American also. So thank you guys so much for watching the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure too, with punishment, we'll have all the links and everything at the show notes. However, you've got some really special shirts or anything special that you want people to go take a look at, and what you guys are really highlighting now? Yeah,
so punishment.com. And of course on my Instagram is Tito Ortiz IG. It used to be Tito Ortiz 1999, but I say the truth a little too much, and they erased my account with 365,000 followers. At the restart, I restarted. I'm at 5,000 right now. So hopefully some of your followers can follow me. I appreciate it. It's Tito Ortiz IG.
Tito Ortiz IG. Okay, yeah.
Other social media, True right?
Yeah.
Truth Club, Truth, or I'm on there.
Oh yeah, the Truth. Yeah.
I got 40,000 followers in less than a month. On Instagram, I've had it now for 6 months. I only got 5,000. So tell me I'm not being shadow banned.
Yeah, they're not showing your stuff off. We can work around that.
Yeah, but so I cut out all the political stuff. I stopped doing the political stuff. Now it's just the truth.
Nice. I love it. All right, my man. Well, we'll make sure we send people your way. And look forward to meeting you. Have a great one. Say,
you too. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. All right, everyone, how powerful was that? Tito Ortiz, we got to hear the real story, right? Like really, but the truth behind who that person is, right? This is what I love, the essence of what a true fighter and someone with values that stands up for what they believe in and for their rights, like really speaks the truth for their family. That's what we're doing. That's what we deserve to have. And imagine going from UFC cage fighter now to entrepreneur and philanthropist, and now, taking a stand and using that platform to speak the truth. Pretty powerful. Awesome. Well, make sure you go on over to see Tito Ortiz on Instagram, and also he said he's also on the Truth Network. Make sure you check him out there and take a look at Punishment Athletics. Like let's support the companies that are supporting America, and let's do that, and let's really be proud of what we stand for. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Don't forget, you can be on my show. We also have, we do interviews. We also are taking sponsorships. If you want to be a sponsor on the Rhonda Swan Show, be showcased as one that takes a stand for truth and wants to learn the true stories behind the brand, the entrepreneurs that have gone through the trials, the tribulations, the failures, and all of the elations. This could be the spot where you put your brand's logo. We'd love to have you. All right, everyone, thanks for being here. Don't forget to be unstoppable and stay wild. See you on the next show.